Hallo, grüß Gott und einen schönen Nachmittag aus Shanghai. Mein Name ist Christina Schösser, ich bin die österreichische Wirtschaftsdelegierte hier in Shanghai und ich freue mich sehr, dass Sie alle bei uns dabei sind. Heute bei unserem länderübergreifenden Webinar dürfen wir vorstellen, die asiatischen Super-Apps. Wie Sie wahrscheinlich gelesen haben in der Bewerbung, die Sprache ist heute auf Englisch, das heißt, die Präsentationen werden auf Englisch gehalten. Diese Folie ist jetzt noch auf Deutsch, aber ich switche schon mal zu Englisch, damit wir das in einem durchziehen können. You see here the outlay of our webinar. It's supposed to be 1 hour, 15 minutes, a bit longer than usual because we have 4 offices involved. What's the topic? We would like to inform you about the animal that's called Super App. Why did we choose that topic here? The office in Shanghai, we had the idea of doing this webinar, doing something on this topic because we came across a lot of information about this topic, the super apps, how they developed, the ecosystem, that it kind of started out of China with the 2 household names here and probably as well with those of you who have business or private contact with China, WeChat and Alipay, and I tried to do some research. Apparently, not only the Chinese super app WeChat, but Grab and Gojek were the first ones in Southeast Asia who called themselves super apps. So for those of you who don't know what it is, imagine all the apps you have on your phone more or less combined in one. You don't have to leave your house, you don't have to move your finger to another app. You can order food, book hotels, chat with your friends, go on social media, book your plane ticket, get a mortgage, buy a car, you name it. It's all combined in one and it's growing and growing. And why does it come from China or Asia? There are a few theories behind it. One is Asia and above all China, they are mobile first. What does it mean? This is a generation, a society who leapfrogged a lot of technical standards. So barely anyone here ever used a desktop or even a laptop to order online, to do e-commerce, to order food, to order presents. It was all done mobile. Here in China, it's a very high internet penetration, high mobile phone penetration. Almost everyone has a smartphone because there are Chinese, there are Asian versions which cost a fraction of the high standard iPhones and the like. So that's very common here. In addition, one thing one should not forget, now I lost my track, it's about how China does research. There is one very interesting thing about how research and development happens in China compared to the classical West. It's do research, try first, regulate later. So you can come up with a lot of ideas and possibilities, which probably in our world would already stop at stage 2 because there is no law, or first a law has to be put in place to regulate it. In China, it's the other way. Try whatever you do, and if it's successful, then might be a rule and regulation. And another thing, most fintech startups are located in Asia. Why is that important? Because apparently, in order to have successful super apps, they have to have a mobile payment. They have to have a financial solution behind it. Otherwise, all those things which I just mentioned, shopping, mortgage, transfers, will not work. These are only a few things I want to say. You see here, I said it reads China and COVID-19. You see me with my speaker, introduce him in a second. We are standing quite close in the same room without a mask. It's not necessary anymore in China under those circumstances, but obviously we, like all our colleagues all over the world, look at the situation every day and would change if anything is necessary. Last thing, why does this have to do as well with our services and COVID? The idea at the beginning, about a year ago, was we would like to take Austrian company representatives to Asia, to different countries, and show them how those super apps are used in everyday life, how they become part of your grandmother's life, your nephew's life, everyone. But as we cannot do this, we thought we start with an interactive webinar with more countries involved. And then hopefully next year, I'm talking about already summer or probably autumn next year, we still do this trip and we will show you how these super apps are used. And above all, you will see then another step, because COVID even changed a lot here, make development even faster. I only say the word e-medication, e-doctor, that became as well in China a new speed because of COVID. That's all from me. What I would like to do now is to ask all the colleagues all over Asia to turn on their camera for a few seconds, because here I have now a slide where you can see all the speakers, and you see now we have I go now in, I mean, it's my line, I don't know how your screen looks like, sorry. We are here in Shanghai, then we have the colleague in Singapore, then we have our office in Manila, with the expert who's sitting in another office, because as I said, COVID situation, lockdown is different in every country. And in my case, in the middle, you see our two colleagues, my colleague from our office in Seoul and his expert from Kaukau. They will come now one after another to give you presentations, but I thought it would be nice that you have the picture when you have as well all the names here. So thank you very much to my colleagues, to all the experts. We will see you again in a bit. And now all I can do is hand over to my expert here, to Alexander. Even though a fellow Austrian, we continue speaking in English. He's marketing manager at China Skinny, marketing, PR, research, and agency supporting, I wanted to say European companies, that's not true, supporting companies who are interested in the China market. And he will be your guide now through the universe of the Chinese super apps. Obviously, he cannot talk about all of them, but the most important. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Screen, mouse, camera is yours.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Christina. Just to introduce myself as well, my name is Alexander Hefel, and I'm a marketing manager for China Skinny. So we are a market research and branding agency right here in Shanghai, and our service is basically providing insights, research, and strategies for foreign businesses trying to enter the Chinese market. We also work with established businesses here in China that are trying to grow their share. Just wanted to point out, we also issue the biggest Marketing to China newsletter, for which I will have a slide on later on today, which you can sign up for, and also my contact details. If anyone wants to talk about anything China related, I'll be very happy to respond and take on your questions. All right, so today we've been asked to talk about two of China's super apps, one being WeChat, the other one being Alipay. And I thought it would be good to start out with just giving you a little overview of who actually the key players are in the Chinese digital landscape. So the four that you can see here in Alibaba, Tencent, Baidu, and ByteDance make up actually 70% of Chinese netizens' mobile usage situations. So we won't, unfortunately, due to time constraints, have time to talk about all these giants. So we'll be focusing on Alibaba and Tencent today. But just to give you a quick run through, Alibaba is most famous for its e-commerce platforms, which would be Tmall and Taobao. They also host the super app that we mentioned before in Alipay, which is initially was a mobile payment platform. However, it now morphed into a super app with a variety of different features. Tencent, on the other hand, we're looking at the most popular platform being WeChat, which we'll talk about in a second. And then Baidu and ByteDance. I just wanted to point out, Baidu, for those of you who haven't heard it, is the biggest search engine in China. Takes about 70% of all searches in China go through Baidu. They're also in entertainment, such as the popular video platform iQIYI. And ByteDance is quite famous for its platform TikTok, which is lately been a lot in the news due to President Trump and the Chinese US Chinese-US situation. But we could hold an entire new webinar on that, so I just wanted to point those out. So in order to understand how super apps developed, I think it's quite important to understand how Alibaba and Tencent developed their ecosystem. So I've just put a few of their platforms here to kind of showcase all the different areas that they're trying to cover with the different platforms. And you can see they really cover anything from social messaging to payment platforms, which is quite an important one, e-commerce, they're leading players in the market, really from tourism to anything. And it is that ecosystem that they developed that they really try to focus on for the Chinese consumer, that they don't really need any other platforms for any desires or needs. So So enough for the introduction. Now we can actually talk about our first super app, which is WeChat. So WeChat was launched in 2011, 1 year after WhatsApp. And initially, in its first beginnings, it really was just that. It was a messaging app. Today, however, it morphed into this multi-layered platform that really changed the way people live their lives in China. It really serves all sorts of needs right now. Before we get into the functions, just a few stats. So right now, they host about 1.1 billion monthly active users, which makes it the 5th biggest platform based on monthly active users. In terms of mobile internet traffic in China, they account for over 1/3 of mobile internet traffic. And also in terms of daily transactions made, you're looking at a 1.1 billion transactions made every day through the third-party payment platform. Now, I've tried to compare WeChat to what it could be compared to platforms in the West. And as you can see, I ran out of space rather quickly. But just to run them through, initially it started as a messaging app. It also has a social network feature, which is called WeChat Moments, which basically functions as a Facebook or an Instagram feed. You'll be looking at the third-party payment platform, where it is the 2nd biggest in China right now, accounting for nearly 39.5% of all transaction payments made, which is quite significant if you consider that back in 2018 already, Chinese payments, 82% were done through mobile payments rather than cash or credit card. Haul riding will be another option that you could do through it. Travel, as Christina already mentioned. So what I put out here is basically just a few screenshots to make it. Oh yeah, there we go. Just a few screenshots to see what the interface kind of looks like. So on the left, I have the normal chat function, which is usually the opening window that you can see, where you have your group chats, your chats with your friends. But it's also commonly used from a B2B perspective when doing business with partners. It's very common to utilize WeChat over email. The next slide gives you an overview of the WeChat wallet, the payment system, where on the left, I can utilize a QR code to purchase anything from pretty much any streetwear vendor outside in Shanghai or anywhere in Shanghai, whether it's a fruit vendor purchasing fruit. It is much more likely that they would accept WeChat Pay rather than cash. It really has become a really normal activity to utilize these WeChat payment systems. The next screenshot I have here kind of shows you a few of the mini programs from the Tencent universe that I mentioned before that are integrated within WeChat. So for example, if I wanted to call a Uber, which is called Didi in China, you can see on the 4th screenshot right here, I never have to leave the app. I can just type in the address in WeChat and I'm getting a taxi. Payment is going to happen through WeChat. I'm never actually leaving the app. Same as if we click on that little dog, as you can see there, that's the symbol for Jingdong, JD.com, Tencent's major e-commerce platform. I can go on Tencent and I can purchase, as you see on the right side, I purchase a gift, a watch. So yeah, I really never actually have to leave the app in order to, I only require the one app. So here we go. So when we do workshops with our clients on WeChat, we generally take a day because there's no way to explain WeChat to you in 15 minutes. There's just too many different features and options that you can go with this. But for any businesses looking to do business in China that are currently listening, what I wanted to highlight here are the 2 most common or best ways on how to get involved with WeChat and how to engage with Chinese consumers. For one, we have the official accounts. These have been around for a while now. There are different types of official accounts that you can utilize to engage with your brand. Some focus more on pushing more content. Others are more towards more features, more innovative content. But usually what you do within these accounts, you can tell your brand story, you offer customer support, you update them with weekly content. I have a little example here of an official account that was very excellently run, which is the Greek yogurt brand Le Pure. So here I'm just kind of highlighting what are the key features of the official account. So as you can see, they have an embedded e-commerce store of their products, which consumers can purchase through WeChat and then get delivered to them within an hour. Payment again functions through the WeChat third-party payment platform. You can check your order status. You can read relevant content. They provide added value such as recipes or recommendations for products to combine them with. You can invite friends. It's very easy to share within WeChat groups. You can share accounts, which then if other users sign up for this, the user that shared the account then gets coupons or vouchers or the like, and they also offer excellent customer service with like same-day replies, which is something that is really, through the medium of WeChat, has not become something that consumers appreciate, but really expect these days. So offering customer support through WeChat has also been a quite common tool. Just real to go back. The real thing, though, that's really been driving WeChat as a super app and put them well beyond the other platforms are its mini programs. That is also something that their parent company, Tencent, is really pushing. So a mini program is basically an app within an app. So brands really don't have any limitations on what they can offer with these mini programs. I think it's probably best if we talk through two examples of my two favorites. So one being CoffeeBox. So CoffeeBox last year tried to get a share of the market, the coffee market in China, while it was being dominated between Starbucks and Luckin Coffee. So what they did is they focused on social commerce strategy while also implementing a mini program. So basically what they enabled their users to do was they could go onto the mini program, develop their own online coffee shop, design it however they wanted to, design the menu, whatever they wanted to. And this was actually a fully functioning e-commerce store. So when your friends go onto the platform, they can order coffee, it gets delivered to them, they pay for it through the payment platform again. And then whoever runs the store gets some sort of vouchers, coupons, discounts. So yeah, and it was a hugely successful campaign. Within the first day, they had 520,000 stores opening. And yeah, and I think about 10% of those stores made immediate sales on the first day. So it was a really great campaign, kind of tapped into that social commerce aspect as well, which is a good trend in China to be utilizing. But again, that's a topic for another day. Another good example, if we're looking at an international brand utilizing these mini programs, we can look at the French brand Dior, who was actually last year was the first brand to utilize WeChat mini program to live stream an event. So their event was at their flagship store in Chengdu, Sichuan, China. And for those who weren't able to attend the event, they could tune in through the WeChat mini program. I'm sorry, the photos are rather small, but so basically how it worked was you could tune in into the event. They had a lot of KOL, a lot of influencers there who were trying on the product and giving their recommendations. And as people were talking about the product, a little window would pop up, as you can maybe see on the screen, where you can actually purchase the product within the mini program. You never miss any second of the live stream. It still shows up in a little window. You end up purchasing it again through the payment platform, and you continue watching your mini program. Oh, just jumped ahead by itself. Okay. Another thing that they implemented was a gift card system that you could send to other people when it was their birthday. That was immediately implemented into that user's WeChat wallet. So it's just a good example to show you there really aren't any limitation of what you can develop as a brand within WeChat. So yeah. All right, so let's also look at Alipay. So Alipay actually initially started as a mobile payment platform. Really came to fame due to its partners, e-commerce platforms Taobao and Tmall, where it was the payment system that you had to utilize in order to get the product that you wanted. Obviously, as I mentioned, Tmall is one of the biggest e-commerce platforms. Currently, it accounts for 51% of B2C e-commerce market share, followed by Tencent's JD, but only 20%. But obviously, Alipay since then has developed. Well, here we have some stats still on the payment market share. As I mentioned, in 2018, 82% of transactions that were made in China were actually through a mobile payment system. So well above the utilizing cash or credit cards. So Alipay and WeChat really have a strong stranglehold on that market. Even though China is the iPhone is very popular, Apple Pay takes up less than 1%. PayPal, Union Pay, eBay, like almost non-existent here. It really is either Alipay or WeChat Pay. No matter where you go, if you purchase something online or if you're in the store offline, it's either one of those two or both. But yeah, as I mentioned, Alipay is not just a payment platform anymore. After the success of WeChat and its mini programs, they pretty much took a rather similar approach. So this should look quite familiar from the WeChat slides. So here in the beginning, I have an example for L'Oreal, who developed their mini program within Alipay. Again, a fully functioning e-commerce platform, a lot of content on the brand history, very well designed. So brands can really utilize these mini programs and really do what they want with them. The second screen shows you a lot of providers from the Alibaba universe that we had in the beginning. This is actually one of the main reasons why Alipay is being used, because of its great integration with such platforms such as, let's say, Ele.me, which is a food delivery app where you can just simply order food through Alipay and get it delivered to you within an hour. The integration of Ele.me, which is Alibaba's new retail store, which very famous for its fresh produce, very popular, spreading across the nation as well. And actually outselling regular supermarkets by 3.5 times more per square meter. And then obviously other parties are also involved here. For example, on the right, I'm booking a movie ticket for myself through the Alipay app. So yeah, there's really a lot of options that you can go with this. Although I need to say, if you are going to choose between one of the two platforms on where you would want to host your brand, I would definitely recommend WeChat Pay. WeChat mini programs, just because they've been around for longer. There's a lot more activity on those platforms. So, for example, the last statistic for 2019, you were looking at 785 million active users of WeChat mini programs. Alipay doesn't even have a fourth of that. Nonetheless, they are developing. They are increasing. Christina mentioned the health and safety issues that were implemented. A lot of those services related to COVID were implemented into Alipay immediately and are used on a daily basis as well. So it's definitely is a player that you should be considering. But as of right now, if you were to do business in China and you were to choose between those apps, I would certainly recommend to do it on WeChat. Okay, here we go. So this is already all from me. As I said, if anyone would like to talk further about marketing trends in China, or would you like to shoot me a message, my email is alexander@chinaskinny.com. Would love to hear your thoughts. And yeah, if you're interested, on our website is our newsletter with weekly updates and trends. And I now can pass over to Singapore to Mr. Ramin Musavi.
Yes, thank you. Welcome to Singapore, which is where I'm based, and I'm here to tell you about the Southeast Asian answer to WeChat and Alipay, which is called Grab. But I think before we get into what Grab is and what Grab can do and so on, I think it's worth first kind of taking a step back and considering the environment in which Grab has to operate. Because unlike China, Singapore, Southeast Asia is a very kind of heterogeneous and diverse market with incredible potential. I mean, if you're listening to any politicians speaking these days, if they're asked, where they see the future going, where they see the most growth potential, it's always Southeast Asia. Now, there are several reasons for this. The first is Southeast Asia is home to an incredibly large and also very young population. Southeast Asia has 650 million inhabitants with a median age of 30 years old. The second is that Southeast Asia is incredibly connected, much like China. There's 350 million internet users. And the third is that it has a booming digital economy with $240 billion worth by 2025. However, unlike China, as I mentioned, it is not that homogeneous. In fact, it comes with its own challenges due to how fragmented it is. It starts with the fact that Southeast Asia incorporates a very large number of different cultures, ethnicities, religions, and languages. The second is that there is still a significant amount of income inequality in Southeast Asia. So 36 million people actually continue to live below the poverty line. There is still considerable access inequality in Southeast Asia, with 75% of people, of adults, considered to be unbanked or underbanked. That is, they do not have access to the financial services that they need, or indeed all the financial services that they would require. And the third is that infrastructure in a lot of places in Southeast Asia still lags significantly behind that in other places, and it's estimated that $26 trillion worth of investments are needed by 2030. Now, into this environment in 2012 stepped a little app called My Taxi. Let me just see if I can get the slide to flip over. There we go. So My Taxi was launched in 2012 by Anthony Tan, straight out of his postgraduate studies at Harvard, with a grant from Harvard University and a little bit of his own money, and started out just offering ride-hailing services, basically an answer to Uber in Southeast Asia. It was also launched in Malaysia before, in 2014, moving to Singapore to take advantage of the advantageous business environment that Singapore offers and the kind of superior access to talent. Now, in the 8 years since, My Taxi has come a very long way. And I want to highlight several kind of key milestones that have really shaped Grab. The first is it renamed itself from My Taxi to Grab in 2016, because 2016 was a huge year for Grab. In the preceding years, My Taxi expanded into different regions, including the Philippines and Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia. But in 2016 was really the year that Grab exploded, because they started to expand their service offering to include food delivery, and they launched their payments platform. Now, the launch into payments really wasn't an obvious step for Grab. Why would a ride-hailing platform, such a food delivery platform, launch a payment service? Now, the reason they did this is because Grab actually realized that launching their payments platform is a way to create a competitive advantage in terms of loyalty. They figured out that if people can use Grab services and also pay for them using the same app, that would kind of create a huge incentive to keep using it and reduce the barriers to entry for those services. Since then, Grab has added a whole litany of services, and I'm going to go quickly through them, categorized kind of in different areas. It starts with ride-hailing, which is still around and the offering has kind of expanded significantly, from Grab Car, which is kind of the Uber equivalent, where you get just a guy with a car and anyone can sign up to be a driver, to Grab Taxi, where Grab cooperates with licensed taxi companies to let you hail a licensed taxi off the street. Grab Shuttle, which lets you get larger vehicles, anything from a minibus to a full 40-seater tourist bus, in advance or even on the spot if you ever needed to transport a lot of people. And Grab Bike in places like Indonesia and Vietnam, where kind of bike transport is a lot more efficient way to get around due to traffic congestion. The second huge vertical for Grab is food delivery, which, as I mentioned, was started in 2016. And actually, this vertical has seen a lot of growth for Grab this year due to kind of coronavirus, people staying home, people working from home. And it's now actually expanded to not just offer delivery, but also pickup. So you can actually go on the app and order food and then go to the restaurant and pick it up. It's also worth noting here that Grab doesn't just work kind of with established restaurant chains or high-end restaurants. They've also partnered with a lot of hawkers and very small micro businesses to kind of help them establish and reach a larger audience. This was followed a few years after by GrabMart and GrabFresh, which both allow you to get fresh groceries or other household essentials delivered to your door. The third big vertical is finance. So as I mentioned, in 2016, GrabPay was launched, which was a mobile wallet initially. The mobile wallet is now active in all the countries that Grab operates in, which is 8 countries in Southeast Asia. And much like any other mobile wallet, you can top it up using any other credit card, and then you can use it to pay for Grab services, but also in a large network of convenience stores and other retail partners. This was soon after followed by Grab Insure, which is a partnership with the US insurer Chubb, whereby they offer you travel insurance, a customized, tailored, fully digital travel insurance around the world, obviously. That's not really possible right now, but it's something that they do continue to offer. And then this is complemented by a whole host of other services, including delivery, which is basically a point-to-point delivery service if you want to get a package across town, or if you want to get an envelope across town from one company to another. You can just go on the spot on the app, say, I need to go from here to here. This now, someone will come and pick it up and deliver it somewhere else. Then Grab has expanded into enterprise solutions. So Grab for Business is basically a business platform that allows businesses to access the whole suite of Grab services in one place. So you can get food for the office, it offers corporate transport solutions, it offers delivery, again, across between different offices or to your clients or whatever it is that you need. And this was then last year followed by Grab Ventures and Grab Finance. So Grab Ventures is actually an accelerator program and a venture fund for Southeast Asian startups. So Grab is now actually starting to take the lead in promoting other startups across Southeast Asia. And Grab Finance is its financing platform for SMEs, where business owners can apply to get a loan for up to $100,000. And then there are several others, kind of smaller lines of business, including entertainment and tickets, where Grab has a partnership with Klug to get discounted access to tourist sites, to the cinema, to concerts. They've partnered with tour operators to offer you tours in different places. And they also have had for years a rewards program whereby you get reward points for using Grab services and extra reward points for paying for them with Grab Pay. And these points can then be redeemed not only for against Grab services, but also on a whole variety of retail partners, restaurants, shops, and even, for example, in Singapore Airlines, so you can convert your rewards points to air miles. Now, in 8 years, Grab has expanded to cover, as I mentioned, 8 countries and today operates in 336 cities. It has more than 100, and I think the latest figure is even more than this. I think it's 165 million downloads. It's the #1 transportation and fintech platform in Southeast Asia and the fastest growing regional food delivery service. Obviously, this year has been quite interesting. Nobody could have anticipated what would have happened, but that has not deterred Grab from pressing ahead with its plans. 2 of the biggest kind of announcements that are expected is that Grab will be granted a digital banking license for Singapore. So the Monetary Authority of Singapore will be handing out 5 digital banking licenses for the first time this year. Grab has applied in a consortium together with Singtel, and due to their kind of expertise in digital services and digital payments, it is fully expected that they will be granted one. And the second one is healthcare. So Grab has tied up with Ping An Good Doctor, the Chinese healthcare provider, to deliver online to offline healthcare services. So the idea is here that you can have AI-assisted medical consultations, use Grab services for medicine delivery and appointment booking through an online platform. And of course, everything can again be tied up with Grab Pay. Now, the final thing that I want to talk about before I hand over is the factors that have allowed Grab to thrive in this kind of diverse environment and the lessons that it offers other businesses that want to operate in this environment. So there are kind of 3 factors, and what I'm going to talk about here is not Grab services, but the actual Grab platform on which the services operate. Because if you want Grab Rails very, very early on, if you want people to use your services, you have to put them on a platform that people can actually use. And they have done this by considering 3 factors: relevance, inclusivity, and engagement. So the first factor is if you want people to use your platform, if you want to engage, if you want people to come and use your services, you have to offer them a platform that they can access. So they went out and did research and realized that actually most people in Southeast Asia do not have, the latest smartphone with iOS 14 and a high-end processor inside. That's not the case. Most people in Southeast Asia have low-budget devices that are a few years old, not running the latest operating system. Maybe even with a cracked screen or something, and the platform has to be accessible for these people. The second point is a lot of people are using mobile data. First of all, Wi-Fi is very often spotty and and unreliable. So most people are using mobile data in Southeast Asia, but they're not, on very generous monthly data plans like many of us. They're using prepaid cards with a data cap and only turning on mobile data when they need it. So how has Grab kind of designed their platform to fit these needs? Well, it's made a platform that is designed to work on small screens. They've made a platform that can work with operating systems that are maybe slightly out of date. It's designed a platform that does not use a lot of data by kind of minimizing the use of animations, minimizing the use of videos where it's necessary, making them optional and not auto-playing them. And it's designed a platform that kind of operates also outside kind of the happy state. So, for example, if you load up the Grab app and you notice there's a slow connection, it will load a skeleton first, for example, to kind of reduce perceived latency and make people feel like things are happening behind the scenes. The second point is inclusivity. So if you want people to use your platform, you have to make them feel welcome, right? So this starts with allowing people to sign up. Now, Christina mentioned earlier that it's mobile first in Asia. Well, I would argue that actually in Southeast Asia, it's mobile only. Most people here don't own a laptop or a tablet or anything like that, but they have a phone and they use it for everything, for staying up to date with news, for going about their work, for staying in touch with friends and so on. So if you're just using a mobile, that means you have to offer people a way of signing up with just a mobile. Many people don't have an email address, because why would they? An email address is kind of inherently tied more to a desktop computer than it is to a phone. So Grab lets you sign up with just your phone number and a one-time password, or using social media, because that is what people have. The second point is, as I mentioned, you have to make them feel welcome, and Grab has faces the challenge of catering to a very, very diverse population. And it has tried to make everybody feel welcome by offering services by offering services that allow people to choose how they represent themselves. So that means you can choose your own avatar, and you can choose how to represent yourself. You can choose your name, and also in the way that in the visual design, it incorporates elements from different cultures, of different religions, of different ethnicities, to kind of not kind of give it a singular feel. And the third point is safety. So if you want people to feel welcome, you also have to give them the options to report abuse and harassment, because there's a lot of cultural sensitivities in Southeast Asia around kind of harassment and discrimination. So Grab has a zero tolerance policy against this, and very easy processes that allow you to flag this. And the final point, which I'm going to, in the interest of time, skip over very quickly, is engagement. So you have to have a platform that people want to use. Grab has realized that a lot of people in Southeast Asia actually share a phone, for example, with their family members, with their friends. So it's made account switching very easy. It does not rely on biometric identification, for example, rather relying on passwords and PIN codes, because that is easier kind of when you switch an account over for people to remember. It has designed offline to online services, so that, again, this is in order to minimize data usage. So, for example, you can flag down a Grab bike on the streets of Jakarta and then turn on the app to communicate with the driver that you have hired him, and then turn it off again and just turn it off and on again when you get home. And the final point is support. So help is available through a variety of different means, including a chat, call center, and a very kind of intuitively designed help center. Again, this is so that people kind of feel that even if they get stuck, they have an easy way out of it. So very briefly, those are the factors or some of the factors that have contributed and that have allowed Grab to thrive in Southeast Asia and in this very diverse environment. And if you have any questions about this, as Christina mentioned at the start, please write them in. If we don't get to them, I will be more than happy to answer them later via email. And with this, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Philip Winkler in Korea, and his expert from Kakao.
Thank you very much, Ramin. Ladies and gentlemen, also a warm welcome from us here in Korea. Today in Seoul, we're going to talk about a super app that has become an essential part of the Korean everyday life, Kakao. Kakao has 45 million active users per month. And with us today is Suwon Kim from the policy team of Kakao, who is going to talk a little bit about the rise of Kakao, the recent successes of Kakao, and what there will be in the future. So Suwon, the floor is all yours.
Hello everyone, and good morning in Austria. I'm Suwon Kim from Kakao's policy team. I'm very pleased to be telling you about our company. I talk about quick overview of the company and introduce some of our services. To tell you a brief history of our company, Kakao formed its current structure by merger of two internet companies in 2014. The first one is Daum, which was mainly a search engine service founded in 1995. The other one is Kakao, which made KakaoTalk in 2010. From the two core services, Kakao has been very eagerly expanding its business area, from platform and contents for daily life to the next technologies such as artificial intelligence and blockchain. Now we have nearly 90 subsidiaries, and we call them all together as Kakao Community. KakaoTalk actually has huge presence in Korean society. It accounts 97% of mobile messenger market in Korea, which is 85% of Korean population. That comes to 45 million monthly active users. You can say that almost every Korean smartphone users are having online conversation with KakaoTalk. This is our corporate vision, making a better world with people and technology, building meaningful relationship beyond the connection. Indeed, connecting everything has been our vision for the last 10 years. But for the next 10 years, we believe making value for a better world using the connections we have made should be the company's next step. This is our business portfolio. Most of them are connected to the main platform, KakaoTalk. Kakao's business is largely twofold. One is platform business, including advertising, commerce, mobility, techpin, to name a few. And the other one is content, such as gaming, webtoon, web novel, or music, or original IPs. Last year, Kakao Community's revenue was about $3 billion US, and the first half of this year's revenue increased by about 30% compared to last year. As you see in the graph, both platforms and content businesses show a continuing growth. Now, I'd like to introduce several of our services. The first one is Kakao Mobility. Kakao started its first mobility service, Kakao Taxi, in 2015. And now it has driver calling service, electronic bikes, parking lot, and others in development. For your information, driver calling is a unique service model in Korea. That is, when you are drunk out of the home and you have to bring your own car, you can call a driver who can safely drive your car wherever you want to get to. One of the services, the first service, Kakao Taxi, is a platform for matchmaking between end users' requests and available taxi drivers. It's basically different from our ride-hailing services like Uber. All of the Kakao Taxi drivers are the owners of taxi license issued by the government. Because of the domestic regulations, ride-hailing servicing is illegal in Korea. Now, over 80% of taxi drivers use Kakao Taxi, and over 60% of users between 20s and 50s use Kakao Taxi. It was reported that by using Kakao Taxi, drivers' average income rose about 37%, and 68% more rise occurs where the locations with public transportation accessibility issues. Kakao Taxi is not just providing matchmaking services for traditional taxi, but now they are diversifying options for users and drivers. It means that users now can choose what type of taxi they want to call, such as premium taxi, van taxi, or Kakao's affiliated taxi. Next one is Kakao Page. Kakao Page is one of our content distribution platform, which is mainly for webtoon, cartoon, and web novel, but not limited to them. It has several success factors, and the most important factor should be its original IPs that are only available in Kakao Page app. On the other hand, its unique business model should be another remarkable success factors. Kakao Page introduced wait or pay model for the first time in the field of web content distribution. It's a hybrid model that you can get a free view for an episode like every 12 hours, 24 hours, or 3 days. Or you can just rent or buy the contents by paying if you don't want to wait. We believe that it's a more effective way for attracting users and making profit than just normally giving all content free or paid. Also, Kakao Page introduced another business model that combines content and commerce in addition to advertising. It's called Cash Friend, which gives cash points for content buying when users purchase goods through Kakao Page. With those strong original IPs and effective business models, Kakao Page has been expanding to foreign markets, including Japan, Indonesia, and the US, and so on. Next case is Kakao Pay, which is Kakao's financial platform. It started its first simple transfer service in 2014, and now its monthly user reached 20 million, which is almost half of Kakao users. Kakao Pay conceptualized its services as a life financial platform that provides effortless finance service beyond just cashless and walletless. Not only simple transfer or simple on-offline payment using QR code, but Kakao Pay provides integrated financial management services, including personal asset management, billing and receipt management, investment recommendation, insurance comparison, and personal ID authentication. Kakao Bank is another pillar of Kakao's financial platforms. It is the first internet-only bank in Korea and is under national banking license and strong regulation. Kakao Bank's older services are provided online using advanced security tools and service policies. To make a Kakao Bank account, you just upload a picture of your ID card and check its validity online, and then it's done. Even you can have loan services without any physical contact. Not only convenience, but Kakao Bank also suggests funnier and easier financial services using its digital-oriented platform nature. For example, you can share one of your accounts with your family or friend, and they can co-manage your account, which is called group account, that traditional banking services couldn't offer. Next case is Kakao Makers. It's a commerce platform that intermediates small and medium-sized manufacturers and consumers. We believe that Kakao Makers realize so-called mass customization. With Kakao Makers, small and medium-sized manufacturers can control the quantity of production using its pre-order system. It means that they receive pre-order before they begin production, so they can reduce the risk of overproduction. As you see in the picture, it shows the sample product and specific time and quantity that consumers can pre-order. Moreover, Manufacturers don't have to produce if it doesn't meet the minimum order quantity. So they also don't have to suffer from underproduction. So far, about 3,000 partners have enjoyed the benefit of cacao makers, with 98% of completed pre-order. Next case is Kakao Enterprise, which is one of the Kakao's community companies that develops and implement Kakao's next business strategies, which mainly focuses on B2B services utilizing artificial intelligence. Kakao already had AI platform called Kakao Eye since 2017. And last year, we spun off this AI division to be more focused on B2B with AI. It's now developing B2B services, including work tool platform, cloud, and data solution products. B2B actually has been Kakao's main business area before, and it's already a very tough market. But we strongly believe that Kakao Enterprise will find and meet the unmet needs in the field of B2B. For example, of course, there are a lot of work tool platforms in the world, but Kakao work proposes unique values such as superior security, user-friendly AI and UX, and advanced functions using AI technologies. So one of the reasons why those services could be successful is that they are connected to KakaoTalk. Like I said, almost everyone in Korea uses KakaoTalk. So it's the most powerful gateway for reaching people. We also provide this platform for other businesses, from larger companies to small and medium-sized companies. Anyone can make a free official business account and use it as marketing channel. It's called Talk Channel. In this Talk Channel service, the businesses can enjoy functions such as creative and tailored messaging and real-time interaction with their customers. We believe that KakaoTalk and its Talk Channel is one of the most effective way for building and managing relationship with customers. So lastly, I'd like to show you an example how Talk Channel works.
저는 금융업계에서 일하던 평범한 회사원이었습니다. IT 회사들이 모여있는 판교에 샌드위치 가게를 인수하기 전까진 말이죠. 매장 주변에 카페나 식당은 다 가봤어요. 경쟁이 치열해서 전단지나 쿠폰처럼 뻔한 방법이 아닌 새로운 방식이 필요했습니다. 그러던 중 카카오톡 채널이 떠올랐어요. 저희 매장 카카오톡 채널을 친구 추가하면 계산할 때 금액의 10%를 할인해드렸는데 꽤 효과적이더라고요. 6개월 만에 친구 수가 7배나 늘었거든요. 어느 날 카카오톡 채널 메시지로 할인 이벤트 실험을 해봤습니다. 치킨 데리야끼 샌드위치를 3,300원에 판다는 메시지를 발송했어요. 예고 없이 오로지 카카오톡 채널로만 홍보한 타임 세일이었는데 3시간 만에 완판했습니다. 카카오톡 채널 메시지에 제품에 대한 유용한 정보나 확실한 혜택이 포함되면 손님들도 놓치지 않는다는 것을 알게 된 의미 있는 실험이었죠. 카카오톡 채널의 채팅 기능도 바쁜 시간 매장 운영에 큰 도움이 됐어요. 점심시간이 시작되면 손님들이 카카오톡 채널로 물어보세요. 자리가 있는지, 포장 주문이 가능한지 말이죠. 그럼 저도 매장 상황을 보면서 답변을 해드려요. 1:1 채팅 기능이 바쁜 시간에 손님을 분산시키는데 도움이 된 것은 물론이고 실시간으로 소통할 수 있어 손님들의 만족도가 높아진 것도 확실합니다. 그동안 매출이 꾸준히 상승할 수 있었던 비결은 카카오톡 채널 단골 손님이 많아진 덕분인 것 같아요. 앞으로도 활용 방법이 무궁무진한 카카오톡 채널을 통해 손님들과 좀 더 가깝게 소통할 수 있는 방법을 찾고 싶어요. 믿고 찾아와 주시는 손님들이 만족할 수 있는 맛있고 건강한 샌드위치를 만드는 것은 물론이고요. 세상의 모든 비즈니스를 완성합니다. 카카오 포 비즈니스.
We also about how small businesses can use Kakao's Talk Channel, and of course, large companies can enjoy these services. And this is the end of my presentation, and thanks for listening.
Thank you, Subong. That concludes our career part. For time reasons, I immediately pass on to my colleague, Christina Stieber in Manila, with her interesting guests. Christina, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you so very much to my colleagues in Seoul. And a very warm welcome also from here, from Manila, from me and Lito Villanueva. I just wanted to give you a brief introduction to Lito, who I'm very, very honored to have here as my expert from the Philippines. Lito is the Mr. FinTech of the Philippines. He was really named one of the top 100 tech leaders, FinTech leaders in Asia, the first and so far only Filipino to receive that badge of honor. And today we have him here. As I said, he has won a lot of awards. He is a mastermind when it comes to digital transformation and also inclusion. And what he created over the last couple of months, especially during the pandemic, and I think that is most important during his presentation as well, that he gave millions and millions of Filipinos a tool with his app, with the super app, the first super app of the Philippines, this Cartech, to give his countrymen an opportunity, a tool to actually be in part of the banking system, be part of the creation, the economic upward trend of the Philippines. So as I said, Mr. FinTech of the Philippines, Lito Villanueva, I'm very excited to have you here, and I'm very much looking forward to your presentation.
Thank you so much, Christina. Yes, my pleasure to be invited or to be part of this session, this webinar. And of course, coming from Manila, Philippines, I would like to welcome all the online viewers of this webinar or this digital forum. Good day from Manila, Philippines. And again, I'm very honored to be part of this session on the Asian super apps. And we have heard about the super apps as earlier presented by our, by other presenters earlier from Beijing, Singapore, and Seoul. And now I am presenting the super app, the first super app in the Philippines. So one of the things that really made us think about having to go through the process of providing the Filipinos with a super app, so driven by the COVID-19 pandemic. So because more than 50% of all branch networks of all the financial institutions in the Philippines were practically closed because of the hard lockdown. So therefore, the Filipinos were really forced to go digital, and because they were confined in their respective homes. So practically, this pandemic became to be the greatest disruptor in modern history. And that really prompted all organizations across segments, sectors worldwide to really think of their strategies. And for RCBC, our crisis response formula is illustrated on your screen right now. So I call it R3 plus ECQ plus S2 is equal to digital CAD. So this means having to have relevant, responsive, and realistic proposition in terms of providing digital solutions, and also to have those solutions to be as easy, convenient, and of quality for all your target market. And of course, coupled with speed and scale, now you will be able to provide, or in terms of outcomes or in terms of output, this will really result in having a high digital consumer adoption and consumer delight. So the thinking here is more on how we can come up with those solutions for the public to be able to make use of. Because just to let you know, when we did our annual strategic planning last quarter of 2019 for the fiscal year 2020, when COVID-19 came, when this pandemic wrought havoc in the Philippines and other parts, and of course globally, we practically had to throw our plans out of the window, because those plans prior to COVID will no longer be effective or relevant or even responsive or applicable to the current situation. That's why we have to come up with new ways on how we can deal or engage with our customers. Now, next slide. Okay, this slide is very important. If I may share with you that the four pillars by which we could now drive customer centricity to be able to drive adoption and scale. So one of which would be, it has to be data or evidence driven. Second would be relevance and impact. Third would be empathetic engagement. And last would be awareness and education. So these four pillars would really give us that aspiration or that goal of having to have human-centric proposition. Because remember, the whole idea is on how you can capture the imagination of your customers for any product or service that you are trying to offer them. Because the ultimate thinking would be to provide them with a demand-driven proposition rather than a supply-driven proposition. Okay, so I'm now sharing with you the three imperatives. The first imperative is listen, listen, listen. So it only means that you have to listen to your customers, because the customers would be your North Star, or this will be the only way by which you can now measure or gauge how you can thrive and survive in a particular crisis. So in this particular pandemic, what we did was really to listen to our customers. What would be their pain points, their needs, their wants, and come up with the perfect, or not really, there's no such thing as perfect solution, but with an appropriate solution or service or product that could best address their pain points now. Because again, what would make them take you or embrace you or love you would be on your ability to really understand the behavior of your customers. Imperative number 2 is you have to stand out. In the Philippines, we have almost 200 mobile apps operating currently, and you have other of those almost 200. You have a couple of them who are practically leading the race. So the thinking right now is this. Of course, this is on top of having about more than 4 million mobile apps globally. So the thinking now should be, how can you now stand out from a very crowded space, right? Because what you don't want is that you will just launch a product and practically no takers will be the result of that initiative. So what is really important is on how you can make your proposition stand out and make it known to the public, so that practically you are imparting that value or the thinking of how you can make them interesting or how you can make this target market or customers excited about the product. So this imperative number 2 gave us the ticket for us to be able to scale exponentially, because in fact, even some of the media personalities in the Philippines would now regard this Cartech, which is our super app that was just launched in July, as a phenomenal app or as a breakthrough app. So next slide, on imperative number 3, would give us this thinking or this imperative that you have to be bold. So you always have to dream big. You always have to aspire to practically think of world domination as your guide in terms of having to set your goals. But in setting those goals, you have to make sure that those goals are really doable, and really something that you could really apply and measure along the way. As I said, we launched last July 1st the first super app in the Philippines. It is the country's first and only Taglish inclusion super app. So when you say Taglish, this is actually a combination of Tagalog, which is our national language, as well as a combination of English, because Taglish is practically the everyday language of all Filipinos in the Philippines, including our migrant workers working in various parts of the world. So in fact, most of our netizens would have provided some comments in their, or made some posts in terms of saying that the Discardtech app seems to be just talking to them. In fact, even the font size of the instructions are made to be very big. Well, in fact, some of the comments would be, it is as if the presentation or the screens developed for this Discardtech app was really meant for senior citizens. Because again, the whole idea is to make it clutter-free and to make it really user-friendly. So, and in fact, this is a way by which we can also educate and make the public aware of the concepts on financial inclusion, because this is the only app in the Philippines that provides them digital literacy and financial education, such as, for example, having to have a guided way of saving or gamifying savings inside the app. As I've said, for a period of less than 3 years, for barely 3 months from the time that we launched this, we have recorded a number of transformational stories because of this super app. So just to let you know, among the features that we have in this app would include, an interest-bearing digital savings where you could actually earn as much as 3.25% interest, and you could actually create a digital account in less than 3 minutes. You could do bills payment to over $2,000, government payments, and you could also do, we have a member get member, wherein that particular enterprising Filipino could now actually earn from this, to earn extra from this alternative livelihood up to $600 per month, or US dollars, $600 per month. So for every time that you do a successful referral, you earn 60 US cents for that particular successful referral. So you also do e-load or e-gaming pins loading. We also will be introducing loans marketplace by next month. You could do cash in, cash out at any of our 30,000 touch points as part of our agent network proposition. You could actually buy an insurance for as low as 40 US cents and be covered for about 6 months to 1 year. Do fund transfers to any of our more than 30 banks and mobile wallets that are participants of the InstaPay National Default Payment System. Of course, we have telemedicine because, again, this is part of providing relevant and responsive products and services. So Filipinos would no longer have to go out and go to clinics or hospitals for them to have them checked, because they could now do mobile phone calls or emails or chat through their mobile app, and practically they will now be covered, and they could do unlimited consult with physicians or registered physicians or doctors for a period of 12 months plus a bonus of additional 3 months. And of course, you could do payments via QR code. Now, just to let you know about what Discardtech means. No? Discardtech is a fusion of two words, discarte and technology. So discarte is a Filipino slang word which means grit the Filipino way. No? So it is more of a determination to thrive and survive despite all odds. Because Filipinos are known in the world to be resilient, because despite the various natural calamities that would normally hit the Philippines or the country, having, practically we have over 20 on the average typhoons per year, on top of other natural disasters like, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and now this pandemic. We have this, we are known to be resilient, and practically Discardtech would mirror that particular trait of the Filipinos, despite having to go through several challenges. Okay, now this is just to show you an example of how empowerment of the unbanked and underserved, which practically begins at every home of the Filipino family. So, once you open a Discardtech deposit account, it has no initial deposit, no maintaining balance, no dormancy fees, and as I've said, it is actually insured with the Philippine Deposit Insurance Corporation, and practically right now, some of our employers are now using it for their payroll or payment of wages to their employees. And also, another thing that I would like to share with you, I mean, we are also delighted that, of course, one of the staunch advocates of financial inclusion in the Philippines is no less than the governor of our of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, which is our central bank of the Philippines, our regulator. And in this on this photo that you are now seeing on your screen is actually his personal tweet, no? Practically saying that for the public to try and download this card deck, because this really provides a mechanism to be able to include some of our unbanked or underserved Filipinos that would be estimated to be around 70% of the population. Next one would be, these are some of the photos, just to share with you, our on-ground digital aid disbursements. Because during the pandemic, this actually applies across all the other countries in the world where their governments would normally have stimulus packages to ensure that the economic recovery is really being prioritized, no? And to also provide some cash emergency subsidies to our marginalized or displaced Filipinos brought about by the pandemic. So because of the digital the digital platform that we have, so we were actually tapped by government to also provide the immediate disbursements of aid to millions of Filipinos in the Philippines. So practically for just a matter of about 2 or 2.5 months that we are existing, we have practically provided so much social impact to most Filipinos who are in dire need of immediate social protection support coming from the government. Next slide would give you also some of, again, some examples or on-ground photos taken during the actual payout. There. So this would be the last set of photos because what we did was really more of collaboration in partnership with various rural banks, microfinance institutions, cooperatives, and even mom and pop stores around the country to be able to serve as our payout conduits. So because in the Philippines, I mean, we still have a high poverty rate, and especially concentrated in most of those top 10 or top 20 poorest provinces in the country. So applying the imperatives, the 3 imperatives that I shared with you earlier, just to let you know, I mean, when we were doing our target setting for 2020, our plan was just about to get 310,000 basic. The BDA would mean basic deposit accounts. No, these are deposit accounts, and we also set for stretch target of 600,000, and we call it WOW target at 1 million by end of the year. And what is exciting, next slide please, was that again we never expected the warm reception of the public on this particular mobile app. Okay, anyway, so just to let you know about these targets, in fact we have exceeded even the WOW target. So we now have over 2 million downloads. And of that, we are almost about to meet 1 million as early as September. So therefore, by end of December, by end of the year, we will be exceeding the 1 million mark. So we are actually doing a WOW, realization of the WOW target. So just to a quick snapshot of our quick stats. So this would show you the the profile, the demographics of the split of the customers that we have for this card deck. So we have practically 40% male, and majority would be female customers, and mostly 70% of those subscribers are practically outside Metro Manila, so meaning in the provinces. And in terms of age distribution, we have about 80% of them would be definitely the Gen Z population, whose age range would be between 21 and 40. And note that Philippines is one of the youngest populations in ASEAN region. The median age is around 23 years old. So next slide. Sorry.
I would jump into that, Lito, for just 1 second, because you mentioned that the women are, disproportionately more eager to download your app, and yes. I'm actually, I take that as a compliment to my gender and my sex. So I'm very happy about that.
Yes, yes.
I'm just so sorry, Lito, that I have to jump in here, and I also ask my colleague Christina from Shanghai here. Because we're running a bit short of time, and I know that there are questions here as well. And I know that, and I wanted to thank you once again for this really amazing presentation. Also, thank you really from the bottom of my heart for all the things that you have been doing, you and RCBC have been doing for the Filipinos during this really, really hard times. And I know that, and seeing from the attendance of people that a lot of everybody that basically signed up is still on there. So your presentation was so interesting that people stayed longer, and I'm really grateful for that as well. Christina.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Lito.
Hello. So I say as well, thank you, Lito, and sorry for cutting your interesting presentation short. We here in the meantime collected questions. And might I ask all the colleagues as well in Seoul and Singapore to join us again? Yes, great. One summary, which was very interesting, of a lot of questions were about the internationalization drive of all the various apps and how they can be used by overseas customers and businesses as well. I guess this is something each of us individually will answer. And another question which came up, and I thought this was very interesting, if there is if there's as well an exchange between our countries and the apps. And I think the colleague in Singapore mentioned it already. It was not one of the super apps, but he mentioned the health app developed by a Chinese insurance company. The Good Doctor by Ping An, which already made its entrance to Singapore. And we have a lot of those examples. And one other question, or one thing which came up, which was very interesting, I think, there was a question coming up, how do those 4 countries or ecosystems relate? And I'm very grateful. I think when you followed our webinar, even the structure, we started with the early birds, the Chinese version, where it started out of saying nothing is wrong, but it did not start as a super app. Then we had 2 examples where, interestingly, it came from driving, from cab hailing, from taxis. And now at the end with Lito, we saw the one where the super app, there was a strategic plan to develop a super app. The others just developed. So I think, as all the other questions were very special in detail, how can you set up a WeChat, a commercial account as a foreign company? I think we have to refer to all those questions and send you the answers via email. I think that's the best in this sense, because otherwise we probably lose the audience, which Christina just said, which is still with us. But it was the interest was really about how to make use of those apps if you're not based in one of those Asian countries, which is exactly why we are standing here, why our colleagues in Singapore, Rami Musavi, our colleague from our office in Seoul, Philip Winkler, together with Ethan Kim, and Christina Stieber with Lito Villanueva, and my colleague Alexander Hefer and we are here. I think the best thing is you will get a link with the video, with the recording of this webinar. We will answer your questions within the next 1 or 2 weeks. And now on the last page, you have as well our contact details if you want to get in touch with one of, let's see if it works, with one of our offices here in Asia. Thank you very much again to all the colleagues in Asia and to the audience for staying with us. I say personally thank you to Alex and to all the others. Thanks for staying with us over time. And once again, sorry, Alito, for cutting you short,
No
but
problem.
we are running out of time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.